I am now standing on American territory, land owned by the United States of America. Now, how is that, seeing as I was only in Windsor about 2 minutes ago? I'm at Runnymede, and if we have a look here, I'm next to the John F. Kennedy Memorial. This acre of English ground was given to the United States of America by the people of Britain in memory of John F. Kennedy, born the 29th of May 1917. President of the United States from 1961 to 1963, died by an assassin's hand 22nd of November 1963. And then there is a quote, "Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, or oppose any foe, in order to assure the survival and success of liberty." So this is from the inaugural address of President Kennedy on the 20th of January 1961. So here I am, I'm on American territory. The whole setup here is quite strange, actually. If you enter from down at the bottom, the normal entrance, then there's some information about the design of this whole place here, and it's quite Masonic, occultic sounding, which never surprises me when we're dealing with this type of thing, when we're dealing with the political elites and the relations between the United States and Britain and things like this. But anyway, it's quite an interesting place to come here. They have some seats to my left, to your right, and these are called the seats of Contemplation. And there was some reasoning for the way they were set up as well. Even the path here and the way the stones are laid out, there was some spiritual type ideological thinking behind that as well. But we're in a very interesting place. We're in Runnymede, and Runnymede is of course the birth of modern democracy, according to some political analysts or political historians, depending upon the milestones you're looking for. The Runnymede Memorial from the American Bar Association is just a few hundred yards away from here, or maybe less than that even. And behind me, not too far away, is the Air Force's Memorial, which is another very strange place with a lot of Masonic and occultic symbolism there. But it's a very nice place though. Anyway, I just thought I'd let you know that such places are not far. I mean, this is just next to Old Windsor. There's hardly anyone here. In fact, I've seen about 2 people here. And really, considering the significance of the place, the historical significance, the political significance, the cultural significance, you would really expect, there to be a lot of people here. Okay, I know it's 7:30 in the evening, going towards sunset time, or already arrived maybe, but when I've come here during the day, there's hardly anyone here as well. You don't see an awful lot of people here. I suppose it says something that it was the American Bar Association who set up who built the Magna Carta Memorial in 1957, and the British here actually, or the British establishment, or anyone else from Britain, didn't really do anything. Maybe that has something to do with us being a constitutional monarchy here, and maybe not liking some of the consequences of Magna Carta. Definitely, it's gone on to have quite wide and far-reaching ramifications for all of us, really. Anyway, thank you. Okay, the Jfk Memorial was designed by Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe. It's maintained by the Kennedy Trust. It was gifted to the citizens of the United States in 1965 from Queen Elizabeth II. but I'm not sure what that means, seeing as they can't exactly take it home with them on the aeroplane, can they? This is the Runnymede field or meadow as viewed from the Air Forces Memorial, which is a short walk up from the Magna Carta Memorial. It's a very nice building there, and there's nice views towards London and the other areas surrounding. The monument you see here is when you enter along the Runnymede field from the Egham side. There's a better entrance at the Old Windsor side, but what the monument says is, in these meads on the 15th of June 1215, King John, at the instance of deputies from the whole community of the realm, granted the Great Charter, the earliest of constitutional documents, where under ancient and cherished customs were confirmed, abuses redressed, the administration of justice facilitated, new provisions formulated for the preservation of peace, and every individual perpetually secured in the free enjoyment of his life and property. Sorry about the 360-degree pan of the Runnymede meadow there. I didn't realise I was going so fast. Haven't done it before, not used to my tripod yet. And here, standing at the foot of the Cooper's Hill slopes in the Runnymede meadow, is the actual Magna Carta Memorial. And as you can see, it's a classical temple style monument, reminiscent of Greece and Rome and their mythology. And at the center of this temple is a pillar of English granite, and the inscription is, "To commemorate Magna Carta, symbol of freedom under law," which in a sense is a contradiction in terms. But anyway, this was built by the American Bar Association on land leased by the Magna Carta Trust, and it was paid for by 9,000 American lawyers. It was erected or unveiled in 1957 on the 18th of July at a ceremony attended by American and English lawyers. Above the inscription on the granite pillar is a 5-pointed star, and the pillar itself sits at the centre of an 8-pointed star, with the points reaching the 8 pillars which hold up the dome, which itself is embellished with astrological symbols, stars and things like this. So the whole thing is very Masonic looking, and it has the alchemical type geometry and occultic numerology associated with the 5-pointed star and the 8-pointed star and the 8 pillars and this type of thing. So all of it's highly symbolic, and the temple itself also it sits upon like a disc of concrete or whatever the stone material is, and that itself, because it's on a slope, it's like an orbit of a planet, a planetary orbit. It gives that impression. So again, that could allude to some astrological symbolism. But the other thing that's interesting is the area where this temple monument is placed is surrounded by oak trees, and that they've planted them as well within the enclosure. And the oak is obviously associated with the British Empire, because its ships were built with wood from oak trees, and also a lot of the buildings of that time that the Empire was building as well. But in Britain, oaks produce a second set of leaves around the beginning of August, and these are known as lammas roots. Lammas, of course, from the Celtic and the Western European pagan calendar, and from witchcraft. You'll know the term. But oak trees themselves, they have a very strong occult tradition. There's a lot of things associated with them. For instance, it's said that the oak is a tree of Dagda, the lord of perfect knowledge and father of the gods of old Ireland. And it said that Dagda had a great appetite for food and sex. He had a crude appearance and a vulgar manner, but he protects and entertains without question all those who seek his hospitality. The oak was one of the three ancient marvel trees of Erin. Erin was a goddess of fate, who, like Era, gave her name to old Ireland. In ancient Greek mythology, the first tree created was the oak, and it said that the whole of the human race then sprang from the oak. The goddess Diana had an oak cult at Dodona, which was the oldest, most hallowed sanctuary in Greece. Followers of Zeus eventually seized the oracle from Diana, and from then on it was the voice of Zeus that was said to be heard through the whisper of the oak leaves. Another thing, it said that the oak tree was struck more than other trees by lightning, and so it was seen through as a channel through which the sky gods could reach down to the world of man. The Celtic thunder god Tyrannus is associated with the oak, the Greek god Zeus, the Roman god Jupiter, Thor, the Nordic sky god, Asus is the oak god of the Druids, and the Celtic counterpart of Zeus and Jupiter. It said that he is the druidic prince of light, and his sacred colour is white. In druidic tradition, the oak is used magically at all ceremonies, especially the quarter celebrations of the solstices and the equinoxes. And of course that ties in with all the astrological symbolism at the Magna Carta Temple Monument. At the summer solstice on June the 21st, when the power of the sun is at its height, the oak represents the sun's strength and its ability to ripen the fruits of nature. One researcher on the occultic and pagan links with oak trees mentions that at Roman weddings oak boughs were carried for reasons which are not entirely clear as symbols of fertility. He also mentions that in ancient times, the kindling of the oak fire was accompanied by a human sacrifice representing the oak spirit or the oak king. The priest of the oak grove at Nemi was almost certainly slaughtered as a fertility offering to the goddess Diana. The oak tree is mentioned in many places in the Bible as well, and one writer on the occult from the 1920s, he writes about the Judeo-Christian links with the oak tree. He says, when Augustine preached Christianity to the ancient Britons, he stood under an oak tree. He said the ancient Hebrews evidently held the oak as a sacred tree. There is a tradition that Abraham received his heavenly visitors under an oak. Rebekah's nurse was buried under an oak, called afterwards the Oak of Weeping. Jacob buried the idols of Shechem under an oak. It was under the oak of Ophrah Gideon saw the angel sitting, who gave him instructions as to what he was to do to free Israel. When Joshua and Israel made a covenant to serve God, a great stone was set up in evidence under an oak that was by the sanctuary of the Lord. The prophet sent to prophesy against Jeroboam was found at Bethel sitting under an oak. Saul and his sons were buried under an oak, and according to Isaiah, idols were made of oak wood. Abimelech was made king by the oak that was in Shechem. And he goes on to mention many other things, but obviously we could go on and on about this issue. There's a lot of information upon it, but we're going beyond our subject. Sorry I dragged it. Thanks for listening if you stayed with me.